Welcome to Tuesdays with Terry. We're excited for you to join us this week. We're coming to you from our home dean studio, aka my office, where we're talking all things Aquinas. We have a couple of great guests this week that are going to be talking about their experiences here at Aquinas and also some of the things that we are looking forward to here on campus and beyond our campus. So no real delay in moving forward, but we have Dr. Kyle Hall joining us today. It's great to have you, Kyle.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So one of the things that, we always talk with our viewers about a little bit is like kind of what brought you to Aquinas? Like what was your kind of journey here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. So my journey here has been largely through wanting to teach courses, I would say, I guess in my best description. So I went to a master's terminal program. I went to CMU for my undergrad and then into my master's. And since they're a terminal program, I was able to teach courses as a master's student. And I wasn't sure. My parents didn't go to college. And so it was kind of an unknown a little bit about what I would like to do. And so I decided if I like teaching, then I'm going to keep going. I like the content, but if I really like teaching, because that's going to be a core portion of my job, then I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And so I loved it.
Yeah.
Then so that drove me to then go to the University of Connecticut. And I got my Ph.D. there, and I taught courses all the way throughout my time there. And then when I was looking for places to work, I wanted to spend time with students.
Yeah.
I do appreciate doing research, and I enjoy it, but I don't want to sit in a room by myself. Necessarily. I'd rather be with the students and interact with them and be part of their lives, especially at a place like Aquinas, where it's a small community of people that know each other and care about each other. I learn about their lives. I meet their families. Just a week ago, I was walking from the library to Ruby, and I stopped, I think, to talk to 6 different people in that span, and I greatly appreciate that. And so that's what eventually landed me at Aquinas specifically.
Yeah. And I think that's a piece that we do so well here it's not just from point A to point B. Like if we were to leave here and walk over to Weggy, we're going to see somebody and talk to them along the way. And I think that's a great part of Aquinas that's exciting. So you mentioned research. What is your kind of research niche, if you will, or research interest area?
Sure. I don't do quite as much as I used to. That's for sure. It's given other, responsibilities and things like that. But I would often define myself as almost like interpersonal nonverbal persuasion. Like those things are things that interest me most. Like for instance, I teach interpersonal communication where we talk about relationships, the effects of them, how to make them enriching and how to build them, also the deterioration of them. I love all things nonverbal, facial expressions, gestures, but all the other dynamics that go along with that as well. And then persuasion, just the way that you might influence an individual. And anytime that I could try to find something where it kind of rolls all those together, that's something that interests me.
Yeah. It'd be very interesting if we ever had the time to bring in like attachment theory with kind of this interpersonal piece and persuasion, because my work like stems around that aspect of parent-child attachment, and particularly very early on, like under 5, and that aspect of like that nonverbal connection. So in our free time, Kyle,
that sounds great.
I know that sounds great.
Yeah,
we could always work on a project like that.
I do. I even give my students a bunch of inventories, and so I show them their attachment scores, their adult attachment scores, and things like that during class. Yeah,
that's fascinating, because I think whenever you talk about that, you can't dismiss like their aspect of their own upbringing and having students explore their relationship with their parents and their relationship with their peers. I do a lot of work around like boundary setting early on in life. And particularly, I think that's an aspect of like that interpersonal piece of how do we help, students kind of explore, which we do well at Aquinas, what they want to do with their lives and how they got to this point. And I think that's an exciting piece that we have here at Aquinas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So there's an insignis role that you've recently kind of taken on, if you will. Yeah,
it's brand new.
Yeah, brand new. Like it's not maybe a month.
About or so. Yeah, maybe a little less.
Yeah.
So I've contacted some of the students and sent out an email, things like that. I'm planning some stuff for next semester I want to meet with each class group to discuss with them the qualities of the program, what they think of the program, and then kind of how to move forward with that.
What are some like initial like ideas that you may have as you're meeting with students and for the program to move forward?
Oh, sure. One of the things in terms of moving it forward, I'd like to grow it more than it is now. Even though now we're probably in the high 50s number, something like that. But also, I think that one misconception that students that are often here have is that if they come to Aquinas and they don't initially become accepted into an Insignis immediately, that they can't get into that.
Yeah.
But it's available to, especially for our freshmen and sophomore students.
Yeah.
If they meet some specific qualifications, then they can apply and they can enter the program.
Okay.
Especially because it's really for our high performing students that are very curious and driven, not by a letter grade, but by just wanting to learn.
Yeah.
And the types of things that they would do in a class, whether they take an Insignis course or they contract a course, is they will just do not necessarily more work, but just different types of work.
Yeah.
Especially things that are more self-guided, self-enriching, focused on delving into a topic, almost like mini grad school.
Yeah. And I think there's opportunities as we continue to have these conversations. We've talked a little bit about like how can students engage outside the classroom on certain projects, but also inside the classroom, potentially being creative on what that can look like.
Sure. Yeah. And I'd also like to consider different ways that those students could be of benefit to our entire student body in various ways. And so I have some thoughts on that as well, because students at the end of their academic career at Aquinas, they will do an independent research project, or they'll do an assistantship where they work on research with a faculty member or engage in some way other than an independent research project. And I'd like to look at that a little bit to see how we might be able to tweak that a little bit so that those students could be of benefit to all.
Yeah. And I think there's some great initiatives that we may have come up on campus that students could be actively engaged in terms of gathering data or, processing some data. We often have in higher ed, and this, tons of data and tons of information, and kind of putting that together could be a great project for students.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. So one of the segments that we do on the show, I think is interesting that people kind of get to know folks by, is called Biscuits Corner.
Okay.
Where we talk about your pet, our pets, if you will. And you've sent us a couple photos. So tell us a little bit about your pets.
Okay. So I'll start with my cat, Spice.
Oh, okay.
Spice. Yeah. That was the name that she was given when we rescued her.
Okay.
And we felt it appropriate to leave it.
Okay.
She was probably about 6 months old, I think, when we rescued her. And that was when we lived in Connecticut. It was my wife and I's first pet together.
Okay.
Yeah. And so she's now, she's about 13 or 14 or so years old. But she's still very spry.
Yep.
But she's just very loving. My wife says it's pretty much my cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the cat is attached to,
Yes. And the reason why I think is it's because during my Ph.D., I would stay up late at night working on my dissertation.
Yep.
And I'd sit on the couch with a blanket on my legs on the couch, and she would hop up and sleep on my legs.
Yep.
And she would not leave me, and she still won't. So if I go into a room to sleep, she follows and she sleeps in there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So my other is our dog. Her name's Hazel.
Okay, Hazel.
Yeah. She is a 2-year-old golden doodle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 2 years old, now starting to relax a little bit.
So still a lot of puppy.
Still a lot of puppy.
Yep,
Still a lot of jumping up and things like that. Lots of excitement.
Yep.
But she's starting to be able to listen a little bit better.
Okay.
Maybe, I wish she wouldn't chase as many leaves, I'm trying to walk her, things like that. But my wife really wanted to have a dog. I was not really a dog person. I'm more of a cat person.
Yeah.
I know it's controversial. But I'm more of a cat person, but she really wanted the dog. And so we ended up getting her, and she's wonderful. I love her. It's just fun for her to be around, things like that. It's not as fun taking her out to go to the bathroom in the winter, but what do you
That's fair. That is fair. So how do Hazel and Spice get along?
They have a love-hate.
Oh, they have moments?
They do. They have moments where they will come over and kind of sniff each other, you know? But then for some reason, Hazel feels compelled to chase Spice across the house and things like that. And I'm always like, she's an old woman, leave her alone. But she doesn't tend to let up at all. So I don't know. I have a feeling though that as time goes on, maybe in a few years, maybe I'll catch them napping together or something.
Yeah. It's possible.
Anything's possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank
Sure.
you. Yeah. Kind of as we wrap up, kind of one more question is you have been here at Aquinas and you work with communication students. What kind of excites you about what what students are bringing in the classroom here at Aquinas, or what are some things that just, like, this is awesome, I can't wait to go to class and continue these discussions?
Well, one thing I love is that, and I usually tell my students this, and we actually just talked about this today, I'm generally a pretty open book in class. Yep. I tell them all about my life, all kinds of things. Yep. And what I love is that they often will reciprocate that. Yeah. And they will share their experiences. And that just enriches the classroom experience, because that allows everybody to understand what somebody else's perspective or standpoint might be on something. And maybe they reconsider their own perspectives. And that we can learn together from one another. But also I appreciate it because I know that if they do that, that they trust that they can share that type of information with me and also with their peers. Yep. And so that's building bonds heavily. And then another thing that I really appreciate, especially for our communication students, is given that it's a social scientific program, at the end, in our capstone and then in our research course, they do their own independent research studies where they collect data and they analyze that data and they present that out. And I often tell them this, it is more rigorous than what I went through. Yeah. And I remind them of that regularly when they're stressing over it. Oh, yeah. And I was like, I understand, I know this is a lot, but I know you can do it. Yeah. And if they need help, they know that myself, and also the rest of our department are there to help them. But they can walk out of here, I think, with a leg up, knowing here's how I can take in information, here's how I can process that information, and then turn it into something usable for the public. Yeah. And that's what I ultimately hope for them as a social scientist. Yeah. And I think we do that well here because it is an environment, a safe environment where you can have those struggles, but you have tons of resources to go and connect with. And what I've enjoyed about having conversations with students is they'll say, well, if that's not their expertise, they'll connect me with someone that it is, whether that's here on campus or in the community. Yeah. And that, I think, as you look at senior capstones and what I've learned here, so far with my time here, and as well as an alum, is those connections continue on after you graduate. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I actually have a specific phrase that's in my syllabus for all my courses that says I have an open door policy for my office hours, that if you need something and you don't know who to go to solve that problem, you can come and see me and I'll find the person that's most appropriate. Yeah. Because sometimes it's just about, where do I go? And I know, at least for myself as a student, if I didn't know where to go, maybe I would just leave it alone, and not deal with it. But if they need something, I probably can't fix it, but I can find somebody that can fix it. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And, as we get to, this time of year, we're wrapping up our first semester. We're into the December months. As you can see outside our window here, we have snow. We're moving into finals. Any pieces of advice for students as we move into these last 2 weeks of the term? Sure. Yeah. So especially for the new freshmen, exams are scary. They don't have to be scary. It is a learning exercise to show your knowledge about a specific topic. It is not a reflection of your core being or how good or bad you are at the core. It is a reflection of your learning, and these are just learning exercises. And so it's important to do your best, but also give yourself grace. No one is perfect. Don't try to force yourself to be perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you. Kyle, thank you for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it. Sure. And we appreciate, your candidness and openness to share with us today. Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you. We'll be right back for our next guest here on Tuesdays with Terry, and look forward to connecting with you soon. Welcome back to Tuesdays with Terry. We're excited for our next guest as well to talk more things Aquinas College. So with us today, we have Brigid Avery, a fellow alum, 2001 graduate as well. So yay, our same class. Just seems like 5 years ago, doesn't it? Just a few years ago. Just a few years ago. So Brigid, thank you for coming on the show. Of course. Thank you for having me. We're excited to talk Advantage Center, Student Senate, and some other things today. With you, so the potpourri, a potpourri, yes, a potpourri of things. So
sometimes I get the question from new students or so forth, or people that passing and going through campus, what is the Advantage Center? And let's put it all on the table now, Brigid.
Great.
Tell me
all the things.
All the things. What is the Advantage Center here at Aquinas College?
So the Advantage Center would be a student's or alumni, because you have lifelong access, one-stop shop for all things career and vocation related.
Okay.
So we tend to focus on things that happen outside of the classroom, although I'm doing a lot of in-classroom activities as well, getting students to think about their calling. So not just what kind of job they're going to have to get a paycheck every 2 weeks, but really what do they feel in their hearts they are here to do on earth. I feel like my vocation is Aquinas College, so that's maybe why we're here. And so helping students discern that. So that could be anything from internships, we're collaborating with the library on the undergraduate research symposium, but also things like student leadership opportunities, and that's where Student Senate comes into play. Down to sort of brass tacks things like your resume and your cover letter. A lot of students are like, I've never written a cover letter before. And I'm like, I got you. So all of those things combined are what the Advantage Center is, because we want to give you the advantage in life.
Oh, it's clever. That's clever.
I mean, I didn't come up with it, but yes.
Yes. So tell me about your location, because this is a new location.
So when the Advantage Center was first born, we were over in a house over on the corner of Robinson and Woodward called Flannery, named after Mother Victor Flannery. It was the oldest building on campus, actually older than Home Dean.
Oh, okay.
And fun
Would
fact,
Ryan verify that?
Ryan will verify that.
Okay, yeah.
And fun fact is that my former boss, Greg McLeanan, that was his childhood home. And he grew up there from kindergarten through law school. I think that's right. Fact check me. And then when Aquinas purchased the building, not from his parents, but there was another owner in between, Advantage Center moved over there. And we loved that house. It was homey, it was cozy. We had Waffle Wednesdays because we had a kitchen. But then this summer we moved to the academic building.
Yes.
So I will admit, at first, I was a little cranky about it, as you remember. But I have really come to love the new home in the academic building. I'm right in the center of everything. So I get asked lots of fun questions like, where do I deliver this package and where's my classroom? But also students just dropping in. So a lot more opportunities to do things like on Wednesday, we're hosting a Pause for a Cause dog that didn't quite make it into the program, but is super friendly and loves people. So Farley will be over on Wednesday. We're doing tea time because would you believe, like, people do not know how to make a proper cup of tea on this campus? So I'm taking this opportunity to teach them how to do that.
Again, the expanded opportunities at the Advantage Center. Yeah.
You just don't know. So yeah, we're over right where the Provost's office used to be, right to the left of St. Thomas. And we're a great stop for tours come by. And I especially love parents. I love talking to parents.
So where's Nelson's bow tie now?
It is right in the Advantage Center. So that was part of the challenge, I think. We did not want it to look or smell like a used clothing store. So we took a lot of pains, I think, to make it look like a boutique. So Nelson's bow tie, because I think that was your next question.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
What is a free professional dress closet for students. So we get donations from all over the community. Lots of folks who work from home now, they don't need their dress clothes. We get brand name stuff, sometimes the tag's still on it. So students can come in there if they have a presentation or if they have an interview coming up, and if it fits, you just can take it. It's free.
So if one of our viewers would want to donate something to Nelson's bow tie, do they reach out just directly to you and you can help facilitate that?
Yes, you can email me, bma001@aquinas.edu. It'd be best if you could drop it off to the academic building, and then you can also see the spot So.
And the spot really has grown. It's exciting to see like you making it your own, working with the students to kind of figure out what works and doesn't work.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm partial to the plants.
Yeah, oh yeah, the plants.
Yeah. So there's a plant naming contest.
There's a plant naming contest, and yes, you won.
Yes.
It was a hybrid.
It was a hybrid. Yeah. It was a hybrid name. Yep. It was a combo name. Yeah.
And thankfully on campus, we have our own plant doctor because I am not a plant person. But
we should have the plant doctor on Tuesdays with Terry. Yes.
Yes. You got to have Rebecca Penny on. She'll, so she, anytime I have an issue, she like takes my plant to the plant hospital, which is right over in Albertus, and fixes it right up and brings it back to me. So the plants, and then we painted in there. Paint makes a huge difference, people. I just can't overstate that enough. So I think we have retained the cozy yet professional vibe that we had over in Flannery.
Yeah,
and that's the goal.
You know, when I've been over there coming through the hallway, it's exciting to see students coming in and out, or students at the tables in the lobby there. And then I see them kind of go in and out and doing some work there, but then also in the Advantage Center. So one of the things that, you know, students sometimes ask is about, well, how can I get an on-campus job and or how can I explore internship opportunities? Is there a place where kind of all of these exist? Yes. I know the answer, but tell us tell us what this is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Handshake. So aquinas.joinhandshake.com is, again, where we keep all of these internship opportunities. So if somebody calls from the community and says, oh, I have this opportunity, we direct them there so that they're posting it themselves. You can also find on-campus jobs. So there's a filter when you just click on campus, and then you can find all of the opportunities that we have right here on campus. But then also babysitting, tutoring, lawn care, those are all housed under, it's called AQ Private Households. So that's the best way for us to post those opportunities so that, you know, a mom of 3 kids doesn't have to make up a company name or website.
So lots of opportunities for students to work on campus, work in the community, get the internship that they want.
Part-time jobs, full-time jobs. Yeah. And the cool thing that I always tell students about Aquinas is, unlike some of these other websites that you go to and there's just like way too much, like forklift driver, all of these positions are posted by the companies with the intention of college students seeing them or recent alumni, right? Yep. So it's a more bespoke experience than just going out into the wild. Like I'd tell students, like, leave the Indeeds alone. But also sometimes students have a little trouble navigating, or they're putting in too many keywords and they're not finding anything. That's where the personal touch comes in hand. You can make an appointment on Handshake with either me or Mallory, and we will walk you through the process. Okay. Sometimes, like I got a call last week from a guy who says, I'm an alum, my wife used to work there, I run a small business, and this is what I need. And then, like, literally seconds later, I get an email from a student, I'm really having a hard time finding an internship, et cetera, et cetera. So I put the two together. Yep. They're meeting for coffee tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll see what happens. Mason, let me know. And those are the kinds of, you know, even though everything's online, it still is important to meet in person because of those personal connections, because that's what Aquinas is best known for.
Yep, and we talked about that with our previous guest as well, and I think that's an exciting piece of what we do. Student Senate. So how does Student Senate engage with your office?
So I'm their advisor. It's a fun and tricky role because I don't want to do things for them. I'm literally just an advisor. And so they will come up with an idea, and so I'll try to help shape that idea. Some of the concerns that have come up have been the usage of space over in the carriage house. And so I sort of orchestrated a meeting between you and our CFO and one of our e-board members to talk about, like, I think students would use it more if some things moved around. The corner cafe closing was quite sad. However, because Senate, I kept telling them, like, you have a voice and students' voice is important, so use your voice. And so they met with the consultant from the dining people, and they expressed that concern that, like, we really missed the corner. Like, we want it back. And it would be great also if there were some, like, pinball machines in there. So we are working on that. And they have been very passionate about just making sure that student voice is heard on campus, but also that there are some actionable items that are realized so that they can say, like, oh, yep, we did that. And just tomorrow night is the tree lighting. So in 2010, which I can't believe was already 14 years ago, Student Senate planted a Christmas tree in the name of sustainability. And it's right over there. And now it's huge. It's quite large. And so the tree lighting will happen on Tuesday night. And I know tonight several members...
there's some decorating occurring.
Yes,
this evening,
some bird seed...
so the birdseed ornaments are going for it. Yes.
Birdseed ornaments, because again, we're sustainable and we want to feed the little critters. So you can come and make your own birdseed ornament to hang on the tree. There's going to be hot cocoa and also a stocking stuffer event inside Home Dean. Okay. Put on by SAO and Student Senate.
Excellent. So lots happening. It's kind of getting close to that end of semester where, we have 2 weeks left. One of our other segments on the show we want to make sure we get in is Biscuits Corner, where we talk about pets. And I know you've had a picture for us that was sent in. So tell us a little bit, Brigid, about your pets.
Okay. So I just have the one. Her name is Arya, like Arya Stark from Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
So if you want the story.
Well, yes, that's part of Biscuits Corner.
Great. So I stayed away from Game of Thrones. And my husband, he's a firefighter, so he watches a lot of stuff at work without me. And he says, I really think you would like Game of Thrones. I'm like, no, I don't. He was like, there's a lot of strong female characters. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I would like it. He knows how to talk to me. So I proceed to watch all 8 seasons in 31 days. Thank you very much.
Wow. That's, yes,
it was
it's
pretty
impressive.
Intense.
Yeah.
As soon as the kids went to bed, I put on and I would watch like 3 episodes at a time. And then on the weekends, I watched it for longer. And I told them, by the way, because they were a lot younger, like, you must announce yourself when you come down the stairs, because like, I have to make sure, even if I pause it, that it's not at a bad spot. Because it's, it's not for kids, not a kid's show. And so we're about, through the 7th season, and we get this dog, adopt a dog from a wonderful local foster company. And I really wanted to name the dog Arya. So we name her Arya, but I'm not done with the show yet. And all of a sudden, all these characters are like switching sides. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I named her like a bad name? Oh. But turns out Arya Stark, spoiler alert, like saves the whole kingdom pretty much. So I was safe with the name. Her middle name is Rey, R-E-Y, after Rey from Star Wars, because my other son said she should have 2 powerful female names. Okay. She is anything but brave. She's about the most scared dog you've ever met in your life, and she's quite large. And so, yeah, she's not anything like the characters we named her for, but
she's adorable.
She's very sweet.
I met her at the soccer game. A little bit ago, so definitely.
She's a hairy one, though. I tell you what, she doesn't look like it, but I always say, like, if I'm like missing, they'll be able to find me because they'll find all of the hairs.
Yep. It's one of the things that our guests around Biscuits Corner sometimes talk about is the need for the lint roller.
Oh, everywhere.
Everywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yes. But I think I
think you're good. I think you're good.
Today.
Yep.
But yeah, she is real sweet.
That's great. And our last little segment here. You have a Cards of College.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this.
It started with just some clip art and laminated pieces of paper. So my good friend Ramil and Yesenia and I were invited to participate in a college prep session for high school students. And there was a gaming theme, so I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we made like an actual game that took students through the stages of college, blah, blah, blah. And it was fine. But I thought, man, if we ever like ran into like some extra money and I had a lot of time, I would love to make this into like a professional game. And then 2020 happened.
Yeah.
We had a pandemic. And so we had this grant, and all of the events that we were going to do, we couldn't do because we couldn't do events. And so we asked NetView, could we use this money to do this game instead? And they said, sure. And so Cards of College was born.
Okay.
We can zoom in on that. And so I've played this with several classrooms of students in the first year seminar. And it essentially shows students that there are so many different options while you're in school. And all the marketing folks will appreciate it's down to the colors, the tertiary colors.
Okay.
This is all branded for Aquinas. So we have bonus cards. So for example, do a mock interview at the Advantage Center. You gain extra points. There are setbacks. Like, for example, feeling overwhelmed. So the consequences: share one self-care practice you engage in regularly. There's also treasures, and those are like join the math club or debate politics. And those are extracurricular types of things. There are my favorite cards, which are shield cards. Those are more experiential opportunities. So this would be, hold on, let me find a good one. Short-term study away in Iceland to study geography, which, we actually have.
Yeah.
So all of these opportunities are really things that students can do.
Okay.
Every turn signifies a different stage. So they'll have a faculty advising appointment or the summer going into their junior year. And they collect points. And then at the end of the game, they will compare the number of points to the job or career that they picked in the beginning. And if they have more than enough points, then they win and they get the job or they go to grad school.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's pretty fun. There's a ton of cards. This was my first game I developed. So
okay, fair. Yeah.
I did learn a lot of valuable lessons. And my dad's like, you should sell that to Milton Bradley. And I was like, Milton Bradley is not going to be interested in this. However, I've presented it at a couple conferences and faculty and staff from other colleges are like, that is so cool. Do you think we could get one? So if there's a donor out there that wants to spot me $10,000 to get this off the ground, this could be the $1 million idea for Aquinas College. Just saying. Well, and a sabbatical, a short sabbatical. I would need to work on it. That's all. That's all I'm asking for.
Well, and I think the aspect of this is you have an opportunity. Excuse me. You have an opportunity to engage with students and talk about things that may be tough.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes around the turn for faculty advising, and I say, how many of you know who your faculty advisor is? So it's basically me presenting what I would do, but in a very engaging and interactive manner. So it's fun.
The dice. What's with the dice?
Well, the dice is every turn you roll it. And if you roll an even card, then you get a bonus. And if it's odd, then you have to draw the setback. You want to try it?
Oh.
Let's see.
Let's see what I can do.
See what you get.
Okay. Just one dice is all I got to roll.
Yep, one die.
A 6.
Ooh, a bonus.
A bonus.
Pick your bonus.
I'll pick my bonus. Okay. And this usually is in like classroom or small groups.
Yes.
Okay.
In first year seminar. And so you'll play in a group of 4 and then you have to share. So share what you got.
I cannot make this up, and sometimes it's the intervention of Tuesdays with Terry and the experiences that we have here is I just drew this by random. You saw it. It's kind of on video. Attend an AQ Advantage Center sponsored event.
Which one will you choose?
Which one would I choose?
There's so many this week. What do you want?
There's a lot happening this week. I think the one just based on is coming meeting the puppy. I think that's fitting based on where we're at.
10 o'clock
coming into
Wednesday.
10 o'clock on Wednesday. And I think this is nice because it's, you may know is this an event that's part of the Advantage Center? Is it part of this? But just making sure, you're getting out there, particularly in the next couple of weeks, and doing a little refresh. So this is a bonus card. Bonus. So perfect timing here. Well, Brigid, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course.
It's been
Thanks for having me.
It's been great to have you. When we come back, on our next episodes, we have a great lineup of guests that are coming up over the next few months. So we look forward to, exploring more things Aquinas and getting to know more of our campus community as we move forward. This is a wrap for episode 4 of Tuesdays with Terry. And again, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to you joining us in the future. And if you're interested in coming on the show, feel free to reach out directly and we can get you scheduled and have you make your appearance. And again, have a great day and see you next time on Tuesdays with Terry.